Hi guys, it's Mrs. C here with Cycle 2, Week 11. So close to being done. So jump right in with geography. So geography this week is going to be Europe and Asia. So mostly you're going to be on the Europe map, but and there's like an arrow to Siberia. But if you'd also like to show them on the world map how big Siberia is, I think that's a good idea. So you might work on both maps. I'm going to start off on the Europe side of the map, and these are places that the kids may or may not, but most likely have been hearing about recently because it's Ukraine and Russia. I would have my kids find the Black Sea first because most of my kids know that one is the one that looks like a shoe. And right above the Black Sea, we have the Ukraine, and the capital of Ukraine is Kiev. Now, there's lots of different ways to pronounce it. Kiev, but I think Kiev is how they say it on the CD, so that's how I'm going to say it. So we have Ukraine and Kiev. So Ukraine sits right on top of the Black Sea. Its capital is Kiev. It's kind of right in the middle, but a little bit north. So Kiev. So then right next to Ukraine, we have this big, huge yellow area, if you're on the colored map, which is Russia. And remind them that that's where the Volga is and our Ural Mountains that we've already talked about. And then on the side of the Volga that's towards the Ukraine, Belarus area, we have Moscow, and that's the capital of Russia. So we're going to find our Moscow there. So those are the ones that are on the Europe side. And then you can show them that on the other side of the Ural Mountains, that there is an arrow pointing to Siberia, and then maybe have them open up their maps to the world side, so if you're on like this one, you just, this on the back side, you're just going to flip that open. Sometimes I get so confused of where to open these two. So flip that open and show them how big Siberia is, because Siberia is ginormous. So again, point out those. I will probably, like I said, start from the Black Sea and work my way up and over to Siberia, just because I like to walk them through that way. The way this has this on here are the cities first and then the countries, and I just like to kind of stay in the same areas as I go through the map. So I'll start with Ukraine. Also point out that the Carpathian Mountains are down in the bottom of the Ukraine there. And the Caucasus Mountains are over that's what divides Russia from the countries below it. So just point out some of those geographic features that we've already learned, and that counts as your review. A lot of times when especially with the older classes, I don't specifically review geography at the end during review, because while we have our maps out, I'm trying to go back and review while they're out, while we have our brains in that mode, and while we're talking about these new locations in relation to the other locations, because that's important to not just learn them separate from everything else. So again, I'll just work from Ukraine up Russia to Siberia and talk about the cities in there. I don't have a cute fun song or anything for this week, but there's not that many locations, and we have a lot of other things to talk about, that we've already learned, so I'll just use my time in that way. Okay, so that's geography. Another thing to point out, because it's Europe and Asia, that Russia is technically part of Europe and Siberia is part of Asia. So that's why it's Europe and Asia. They don't have to memorize that header, but just maybe point out that these are, even though they're right up next to each other, they're technically on separate continents. So math, it's our last week of multiplication tables. Can I get an amen? And I get so excited when we get done. I don't hate them at the beginning of the year, but man, by the time we get to week 11, I am so over multiplication tables. So we have our cubes this week, and the cubes are those ones that it's just you just have to memorize them. I don't have any great tips for you. You got to memorize them. So because I do have a few that are still going to be under the 10, they can technically still sing these for Memory Master. So I'll probably sing through the song just to kind of get that in. And then I have, I don't know if I have them printed over here. I added them to the tutor group, and I think they also got it added to CC Connected. If you look under Skip Counting Posters, there is a cubes poster that has all the numbers on there, and I will, if I don't already have those printed out, because I don't know if I do. I had a bunch of them printed, but I don't know if I ever did that one. I'm going to print those out for my class, because I just think it's really helpful to have those big, huge numbers right in front of you when we're trying to say through them. So again, I will probably draw a visual up on the board just to show them what it means to cube something, why it's different than a square, and why our numbers expand exponentially, because again, this is our not x squared, now we're x to the third power, and why they get so much bigger than when you're just squaring them. So let's see. Nope, that's cubes. All right, squares. I don't think I have the cube ones in here to show you, but they are added on CC Connected, and they are also on the To Your page on Facebook. Look under Skip Counting Posters. So that's what I'm going to do for the Cubes Week. If you have kids that can just sing it and you want to, it might be a good week to bring in the cube with the shapes and let them try to put the shapes in while you're singing through, just because it's cubes, so it's a fun week to use that. For English, we start our indefinite pronoun list, which is going to take us through weeks 11, 12, and 13. And I do have a song for this. I'm going to just start week 11 singing through the whole song, and I will use it for weeks 11, 12, and 13, and we'll just do the whole song each week, just so they are learning those. So I will attempt to sing it.
Mommy?
Yes?
I'm done my finger.
Yeah, oh dear. We've had, I don't know if you can tell, I'm still stuffy. We've had a little sickness going through. I think she's still being a little clingy. So, okay, I got to sing my indefinite pronouns. So I would also point out these are indefinite, and indefinite means that they are not definitive. They don't have a, like last week we did demonstrative pronouns, and those were specific that they were doing this. And then this week, these are indefinite. So it doesn't mean a specific number. It could be many different numbers of things. So they don't have a definite amount. So like pair isn't going to be in this group because pair would be two. Also, pair isn't really a pronoun, but you know what I mean. So the song goes like this. I'm going to try. I get a little confused in the middle of it, but here we go. All, another, anybody, anyone, anything, both, each, either, everybody, everyone, everything, few, many, more, most, neither, none, nobody, none, one, other, several, some, somebody, someone, such. I think I rushed it at the end, or I didn't rush it fast enough at one point, but I'll try it again. It gets a little different every time. You know, put your own spin on it. All right, I got to sing it again. Can you help me? Okay, here we go. Ready? All, another, anybody, anyone, anything, both, each, either, everybody, everyone, everything, few, many, more, most, neither, nobody, none, one, other, several, some, somebody, someone, such. Ooh, sorry. So that's the basic tune of it. I feel like it's the same tune to 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, which is our cubes this week. So if you're already singing that, you can just lead right into this. Just go right from your cubes into indefinite pronouns.
Mommy, I watch TV.
You watch TV? Okay, in just a minute. All right. So, I will see if I can find somebody who sings it much better and in the correct way, to link you guys to. I'm just learning this. We sang it in Essentials last year. Oh, careful, you're getting coffee from that on you. So I'm still working on getting it down, but that's okay. You can model learning for the kids if you don't know it all the way. So that's what I intend on doing for 11, 12, 13. Moving on to Latin. So we have a new tense this week, which is our last tense. Hooray. You've learned all 6 tenses after you learn this one. So this is going to be our future perfect tense. And the way we remember this one is it's arrow as the first one. So it's ERO, but it sounds like your bow and arrow. So because our future is so perfect, we're not going to need our bow and arrow anymore. Like we don't need it. We don't need that. I also, like that works, but I was also thinking in the future, like, or just pointing, we have an arrow, we're looking to the future because we're, on our way to heaven and the future is going to be perfect. So we're pointing our arrow and that's where we're going. We're pointing to heaven and the future will be perfect in heaven. So that was another way that I thought would be good to remember it, rather than we're going to put down our bow and arrows because we won't have war in the future, which, also won't happen either. So however you want to remember arrow for future perfect. So since it's a new week, I will take my time with the kids and go over introducing it well. And again, this has like 2 helping verbs, shall have, will have. So it's got 2 of those. So, hey, careful. Thank you. With our verbs, and they've already happened again. We have our EDs on the end of them. So we'll go through and sing through those a few times and take our time with them for it. And then you've learned all of your Latin tenses, and then we just review them for the rest of the year. So, you've done that, you've got that. And remind your kids, if they're going for Memory Master, that if they've gotten all of these tenses down, that they've got their Latin done. Then that's awesome, and how exciting that is, because sometimes at this point the kids start getting a little overwhelmed with the Memory Master stuff, and so just be like, hey, you've done your Latin, good job. So for science, we have our phases of the moon, and my son has a moon shirt, so he will be wearing it this week, and he will be my demonstration for the phases of the moon. But we're gonna have new, so I'm gonna have my fist closed for new, because when the new moon, it's dark, you can't really see the moon. So we have new, and then we're gonna do we're gonna have our crescent moon, and then our quarter moon. So it's like, to us, we would think it's like a half moon, but we're only seeing a quarter of it. So quarter moon, and then gibbous is like not quite a whole circle, and then full for your, my pinkies are doing weird things. So for your full moon. So you could draw them up on a board. You could have them drawn up. You could have the kids draw them. They're pretty easy to remember. The gibbous is the weird one that is like just a weird word that we don't normally use, because the rest of the words are words we know. Crescent moon, think of like croissants or crescent rolls. That's the shape that they make. A quarter moon, where if you were to draw the whole circle of the moon and kind of divide that, we're only seeing a quarter of the moon is lit up. And then gibbous is the one that's like not quite a full moon. It's like a 3/4 moon. And then we have our full moon. So that's why we'll just go over those for science really fast. There is a science card that has them on there. It's number 18. Again, just a reminder, for history and science, they have the card numbers up in the corner. It took me an embarrassing long time to realize that that's what those were, but that's what they are up in the corners of those, where it says a number. It's for the card that corresponds with it. So that might, if you have those, that would be a good one to bring in just to kind of visualize what those are. So we'll go over those. And then for history, so some people really don't like this song because it is a little violent, but I feel like the kids love this song. It's a really catchy tune. So we for this one with the French Revolution, I will probably divide it up into papers with different parts, or cards with different parts of the sentence on it, and have them put the sentence in the correct order. I don't have an even class this year, but I have like 3 girls and 4 boys, so I might just divide it girls into boys and make 2 sets of it and have them put it in order. And while we sing through the song, I think most of them know this song. Like I said, I feel like the kids find this song very catchy. So anyway, okay, so timeline is the only thing left. So for timeline, we have Norman Conquest. So again, anytime people are conquering or defeating, you're going to take your hand and kind of like push that other hand down. This hand is down, this hand needs to say uncle, it's been defeated, right? So Norman Conquest and feudalism, again, like we did for the Han period, we're going to kind of do the different levels of people. So you had your serfs at the bottom, and then you had your lords and your king. Oh, thank you so much for that. Sorry. So you have all those different levels. So Norman Conquest and feudalism in Europe. And then the Crusades, we're going to make a cross with our finger, and they were trying to spread Christianity and take back over the Holy Land. So we're going to take our cross forward like this. So the Crusades. Zimbabwe, if you watch the video of the lovely lady in the blue shirt, who is where I get all my explanations for, she said that Zimbabwe means like a stone wall. So we're going to do the sign for a wall. So you're going to have your palms facing towards you with your thumbs in like we would do for a B, and you're going to like do a wall around yourself. So Zimbabwe. And early Mali, we're going to make an M, which is 3 fingers over your thumb. And we're going to do our sign for gold, because it was a gold. They were like the best in the gold trade at the time. So early Mali in Africa. And I don't know if there's drums again, but if there are, as is tradition, you must pat your legs for the drums. Aztecs of Mesoamerica, they were famous for their pyramids. So we're going to draw a pyramid just with your fingers. It's not really a pyramid. I guess you're just drawing a triangle, but we're going to draw that triangular shape of the pyramid. So Aztecs of Mesoamerica. And then we're going to have Francis of Assisi. So we're going to take our thumbs like you're saying okay, and we're going to kind of flick like this. So this is an F. So Francis of Assisi. And Thomas is just your thumb under your first finger. That's a T. Thomas Aquinas. And Japan shoguns, so you can't see down here, but you're going to like have your hand down at your hip and you're going to draw your sword out because they were fighters. I'm getting stickers put on me. So Japan shoguns, so pull your sword out. And then the Incas of South America lived in the mountains. So the Andes Mountains, I think. And so we're just going to make little mountains. And then there's some like time there so you can do a motion of climbing like you're climbing up the mountains because they lived up in the mountains. So that's all for timeline for this week. So I hope you guys are doing awesome. One more week until you're done with the semester. And we're done. We're done with times tables. Let's just be glad about that again. So anyway, I will see you guys back here with week 12. Thanks. Bye.